Just a couple guys we talked to a while back were mentioning just the differences between this summer and last summer, and just the way that you have so many guys that have been there and done that. Have you seen any noticeable differences just in the level of maturity and guys knowing the expectations of what it takes to do what you want to do this season?
Well, I think it's a very mature group, but I thought last year was very mature as well. And we were the oldest team in the Big Ten a year ago, and I think we're going to be up there at the top again this season. And these guys, the one thing I've really learned about them in the first just about month that we've had them is it's a very competitive group of guys, and I've been really pleased with their approach, how they've come into the gym every day ready to go. We don't have to jump them, light them up. They're ready to get after it as soon as they step on the court. They've made great gains in the weight room. That's a big part of our summer development, is in the weight room with Kurt and our medical staff, and it's been fun to see him grow. We just got Braxton on the court this week for live action in half-court drills. And he's got a chance to be a force out there. And, it's fun to see he and Andrew Morgan out there battling. I've been really, really impressed with Andrew and his physicality and his skill level. He's got great footwork on the block. And Justin Bullis has given us good reps out there as well, especially when Braxton was still out with his thumb injury. So we've got pretty much everybody back on the floor now. Still taking it a little bit slow with Braden Frager with his wrist injury, but he is out there with the team doing shooting drills and doing all of our script stuff. We're just keeping him out of live play right now, and probably won't get him until the fall once we start with classes. But it's been a really fun team to be around. Very similar makeup to last year's group. It's been fun following Berke in the under 20 European Championships, and looking forward to getting him back here most likely in the middle of August.
Talk about that front court. I guess how early in the process did you start preparing for not having rink masked, and then how much of a priority was getting a guy like Andrew and then adding Mia later on?
Yeah, Andrew has he gives us a lot of the same skill level that Rink has. He's got a really good feel. And the thing I've really, we double team the post. We come from the baseline side. It's hard for posts in this system to get good looks, but Andrew has still found a way to finish at the basket with different high-low type actions. And we're still experimenting with things. We're certainly going to have our staples as far as getting the ball up the floor quickly, playing with pace. As far as what exactly the system is going to look like, we're still experimenting with some of those things. Can we run the same actions that we did with Rink, with Derek, where both those guys led our team in assists the last 2 years? With Braxton on the floor, it may look a little bit different than when Andrew is out there, and we still haven't had him in full court action yet. So, once we get our full team out there, we'll see exactly what it looks like, what system we're going to have in play. But the thing that, again, I've liked the unselfishness of this group, what they've shown so far. We're still turning it over too much, I think, as probably everybody is at this stage. But we really just started going up and down live about a week and a half ago. Before that, it was a lot of just putting the system in and doing a lot of individual skill, fundamental work. And now with the whole team out there, it's been fun to see these guys get out and compete.
How important is just the return of Bryce and Jawan to this group this upcoming season?
Yeah, Bryce, Jawan, Sam, and Aaron was part of it a year ago, and Cale, Jeff, Henry, all those guys were here, which is important. And having those guys that were out there and can help teach. The thing I've been impressed with is the leadership and how those guys have stepped up in that area with. Casey off the floor. CJ was a good leader for us a year ago with no Rink, no Josiah. Somebody had to step up in that area, and I think those guys have done a really good job, and we challenge them. It's your job to really help these young guys and new guys adapt to what we're trying to do with the system that we're putting in on both ends of the floor, and I've been really pleased with our veterans helping the new guys along, and they picked it up very quickly. We've got a high IQ team. That's one thing I've seen to this point as well. And with our system being a read and react, you have to have a team that's got smart players out there, and I've seen that. But I'm proud of those older guys, the guys that have been here to help the new guys along the way.
How are you seeing Rink be involved, even though he can't? He's out for the year.
Yeah, Rink he's out actually shooting a little bit right now, not moving, but he's ahead of schedule with his rehab. We're still going to stick to the plan with him not playing this year, but he's still involved. He's on the sidelines. He's over there talking. He and Joe obviously know what we want, what we're trying to do. So to see those two guys over there, really trying to talk. And when Braxton comes off the floor, you see Josiah at times bring him to the side, or Rink bring him to the side and let him know if he made a mistake. And Rink's going to be a big part of this. And, I've been happy with Josiah and his role. What he's doing is he continues to rehab and get ready to resume his playing career after the season. But it's like I said, it's been fun. Obviously we haven't hit much adversity to this point. We haven't played a game yet, but I've been very impressed with the overall makeup of this group of guys.
How have you seen Joe transition into being more of that coach?
Well, I had a debate with him on a chicken or steak burrito bowl for about 20 minutes yesterday. And finally, I just said, Joe, I got work to do, so I had to kind of kick him out of my office. But he's adjusted well. I mean, anything that we need. I mean, those guys are invaluable. Those grad assistant positions that we have, and those guys can be on the floor with our players as soon as our hours are up. We get 4 hours a week with them on the floor, but the GAs can be out there and rebound and help them and talk to them. And I've been really pleased with Joe. It's hard to transition from being a player that played with a lot of guys to all of a sudden now you got to coach them and be there and maybe get on them at times. But I think he's gonna be a really good coach when it's all said and done.
You've always had it where different guys can trigger the offense, but how do you build up that point guard situation as you kind of think about it?
Yeah, I love everything Raleigh's all about. And, he's got a chance to be the only Husker ever to score 1,000 points, get 500 rebounds and 500 assists. If he has an okay year, he will achieve those numbers. And, anything, and talking to anybody that's been around Raleigh or played against Raleigh, all they say is he does whatever it takes to win. And you can see that. His shot looks really good right now. He's been working really hard on his shot. And he just does all the little things right. He guards. He makes the right play, rebounds the ball, and he takes good shots. He's got a good shot selection, but his overall feel is I guess exceeding a little bit what we thought coming in, and I had high expectations on that. And then Ulis, again, being here, he's one of the best I've seen in getting the ball up the floor quickly, getting the outlet pass, throwing ahead. He's shooting the ball. He really worked on that last year when he sat out. And another guy that I think has a really good feel. And then Bryce played a lot with the ball in his hands a year ago. Sam's getting reps out there. I think Gavin, can bring the ball up the floor. I love Gavin. His approach, his confidence when he shoots the ball. Connor, been really pleased with him. He's had a great week of practice. So it's going to be, my biggest job this year, and I know I talked about this last year, is figuring out a rotation and figuring out who should be on the floor and help us win games. And, I probably won't know that, all the way up into November. But, we're taking notes right now. Who's being the best talker, who's going out there every day and being consistent, who's going out there and doing all the little things. And, I'm going to have a really tough job when it's all said and done on who's going to be the guys not only that start the game, but, probably more importantly, who finishes the game. But that point guard spot, I've been pleased with what I've seen. And, again, the multi-handler system, we got a lot of guys that can initiate the offense.
What do you see as Bryce's next step, and how do the new faces that you brought in kind of impact him on the floor?
Yeah, his overall pace. I've been so impressed with Bryce's just overall pace and demeanor, and he's a two-way player that I think has a chance to play at the next level. There's no doubt about it with his positional size and his his overall skill level. He can do it on the post. In the mid-range, which I don't love, as you guys know, but he's a good mid-range shooter, and then he can, 40% three-point shooter. So, and then the way he got to the free throw line, especially at the end of the year, was something that was really impressive. So really building off that, and then just becoming a really consistent defender. And when we put him on the ball, our defensive numbers skyrocketed. So, I'm looking, to Bryce, to be a leader on this team, a consistent leader, whatever's happening on the floor, and he's got a chance to have a heck of a year.
How do you balance adjusting to what you have with your personnel, but also sticking with the formula that you've had through your career, and also what has worked so well over the past couple of years here? I mean, just the fact that you mentioned doing different things with your bigs. You have two true point guards now, veteran point guards. So just how do you walk that line between not ditching everything you did the last 2 years, but also playing your team.
Yeah, it's our number one job as a coach is to look at our overall skill level and talent on the roster, and then put in the system based on the skill sets of the players. And I have adjusted pretty much every year I've done this. Whether I have a pure point guard, whether the last couple of years we really played through our bigs a lot, especially without a true point. The last couple seasons, this year we have true point guards, so it may look a little bit different as far as who is initiating the offense, but it's, again, when you look at it offensively, defensively, how are we going to adjust? How are we going to change? With Braxton on the floor, we've been at the level pick and roll defense, the last couple of years. With Braxton, his ability to protect the rim, we may have to play a little bit different with him out there. We're still putting in our principles right now, but as we continue to see, what we have, who we've got, we will adjust accordingly. But, that's our number one job, is to figure out the system based on the skill level and skill set of our players. And, again, we're still in the process of doing that, just starting to go live a couple weeks ago, but we'll get there.
You were out on the road looking at portal guys and recruiting. Can you see the difference just from last year's success? Do you see it translate when you're talking to guys and sort of the buzz they feel about the program?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a whole different landscape right now with everything involved with the portal, with NIL, and you just try to talk about the things that you can help these guys achieve with their careers. And I think we were fortunate to get a couple players that played in the league last year. I asked a couple of them, what they thought the best environment in the Big Ten. Connor Seaton said PBA was the loudest in his opinion, and so I think that makes an impression when you play against it. I think he really liked the system and how we use Casey. Same thing with Gavin. As we were talking to him, some success that we've had with point guards, I think, really helped attract Raleigh. And having success certainly helps. But there's so many things at play now with the landscape of college athletics, and you just try to do the best you can and go out there and build a team that you think that the fan base can be proud of. And I'm very confident that we have that group again.
I guess that's your non-conference schedule. I guess what were your kind of thoughts on designing that, and how do you feel it ended up?
Yeah, I feel good about it. Obviously the game in Sioux Falls, you're playing the team that won their league last year in St. Mary's. Randy Bennett's one of the best in the business, and it's going to be a great opportunity against probably a top 15 team in the country. Creighton is going to be really good again, playing that game on the road. We're going to get 3 high-quality games in Hawaii over Christmas, and then I think our home non-conference schedule, we're going to get tested as well, and then 20 league games and the 4 teams that were added with USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington. I mean, that's going to be an absolute grind playing those 20 games. So I feel good. I feel good about our schedule. We're going to get tested, and it's going to help us come Big Ten play. All right, thanks, guys.